Hello, welcome back to the Gamer's Tale. My name is Trent Gander. I'll be your dungeon master for the evening, and tonight we'll be talking about how stalkers seem to have predated a lot of games with some of the mechanics that we're seeing common in stuff like PUBG, Fortnite, and I'm also joined by Joshua, Nathan, and Steve.
Hello, hello.
He's not the kind of dungeon master you think he is. He's the kind that you have to pay a lot of
Got
money
worse.
on the internet to see, and just
And there's a lot of black leather.
oh yeah, a lot of it. There's chains on the walls and stuff. It's gross.
Yeah,
This
I
suit's
walked
really
into that
uncomfortable.
one.
Hey, did you
Yep.
say you were?
That's what she said. Do what?
Thunder sex.
Oh my god. Today was the day I regretted it ever turning on this camera. No, anyway. If you've been watching the last 2 to 3 episodes, you know that Nathan and I have just been, or at least I have been geeking out over the video game S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Shadow of Chernobyl. And I've ended up at pretty much every single opportunity I could. And I'm slowly trying to coerce Josh and Steven into purchasing it and playing it themselves, mainly because it sounds awesome. And
I need to get on that, actually.
You do. You really do.
I need to find it.
It's a timeless classic.
It's kind of like
I need to get on
got
that.
more
Mario
following than anything.
It reminds me of the time I was asked if I was a cult leader, which was actually kind of fun. But yeah, it is.
Oh.
Aren't you?
Really quick, on an off note, on my poll on Facebook about which is better, tacos or chimichangas, tacos is at 69%, and I really don't want it to go any further.
Yeah, right.
You've now been sentenced to 68 years in prison. My client asked that you add 1 year.
Just have an air horn like bah, bah, bah!
Objection. Okay.
That's what you're
Yeah,
gonna
anyway.
get in prison. So
Stalker is a horror first-person shooter, and I really don't go in for horror games, but I absolutely love this one. I don't know why.
I wouldn't call it horror. I'd call it more of like a thriller. I mean,
It's suspense.
suspense. Yeah. I mean,
But it's classified as a horror shooter for some whatever reason.
well, okay. Well, maybe it's a horror shooter then. Anyway,
give me 1 minute. I will be right back. Continue your conversation.
don't tell me what to do.
You're not my dad.
Which is Steven's response to any question or any command in the D&D session. Literally, if he gets told to do something, he's like, "You're not my dad." Anyway, we're trying to get Nathan to join us.
It'll
in
never
D&D.
happen.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
We have cookies. Anyway,
I hate cookies. Oh.
we were talking about Stalker. I don't think we're gonna get a lot done this session, but yeah. Well, Nathan and I have both been watching some PUBG recently. I've been watching it a lot longer, a few months back when it was like really popular before it was starting to come out in console. It reminded me a lot of Stalker after I started playing it. Stalker, not PUBG, but there's just a lot of similar mechanics in it, such as weapons requiring the actual caliber that they're in, and not just I found ammunition.
Yeah,
You.
I hate it when games do that.
The other thing was the use of energy drinks, medications, and bandages, and like medical kits to restore your health and stamina. Additionally,
So, like, are they hard to come by? Like health packs and all that?
in Stalker, the level I'm playing at, I have a lot of health packs, but as the harder you make it, I'm going to assume those go down or are not as effective.
They're just as effective, and you find them just as much. you just die more easily. So instead of getting shot 3 times, you get shot once and you're dead. It's super hyper realistic in that manner, except for when you go to shoot back, it takes an entire magazine to kill somebody.
Well, I use that now, and that's because I'm a crappy shot in the game.
I'm sorry, I had to run to the bathroom.
Are you in the bathroom currently?
Well, no. My phone's plugged
That's
up, but
that's a yes.
like, wrong. I ain't above it. Like,
You're on top of it.
Yeah, it was we're none the wiser.
precisely.
So.
Yeah. You know.
Exactly.
You know me. You know what I'm about.
The other thing that also features in from Stalker to PUBG is that the environment tries to kill you a lot, but not in the exact same way. The gas cloud in PUBG is an electrical field, as some describe it, and there are electrical field anomalies in Stalker that try to screw you over, but they don't progressively track you, unlike PUBG.
I've been playing a mobile version of PUBG. And so far, like I've really enjoyed playing it, having it on, a phone. And from what I've heard and what I've seen, it's pretty similar to the actual game itself. It's just the mechanics are a little different, considering it's mobile.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was wondering, how does that game, like, how does it play? As
So
far as it
pretty
goes, I
much,
mean, just,
start off, um, there's a queue, of course. There's a queue for everything nowadays with multiplayer,
yeah.
and then you get brought up in an airplane or a helicopter, whichever version you play, and then you parachute out over this island. At any given point you want while the airplane's over it, and then
Okay.
you try to get to a destination, preferably alone, so you can try and find firearms, wet armor, and backpacks and stuff like that, ammo.
Right.
You collect it, and as you go, you can find modifications for your guns as well. Um, you know, me, I like to run the ACR with a ACOG scope and preferably a flash
Right.
hider so nobody can see your flash when you're shooting at other people.
You gotta keep
Right.
that flashing down.
Yeah.
I just meant as far as like being able to control it with your phone. Like, how is that?
It's difficult to learn. It's
Yeah.
some first person shooters on mobiles have a uh, auto aim, not auto aim, but it's like an auto fire. So like when you get the crosshair over the target, it shoots for you. And then some are more blocky where you get the crosshair over them and you have to like quick tap the fire button, and then you can hold the fire button down and move at the same time. But that's not always the best because recoil.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I just didn't know how they really put that together. You know, it just seems it could be hard.
Yeah.
But
The interesting thing
it
is
seems
that,
pretty cool though. Like,
have you ever tried a pistol only run, Nathan? Or not? Okay.
Wait, what was it? I missed that.
I said, have you ever tried a pistol only run?
In PUBG.
In phone G, yes.
No, actually. One of these days when I'm good enough, maybe I will.
Interesting. That's kind of one
what
of the
I've
things I
seen in
want.
that game and what little I've played of Fortnite, that seems like something extremely hard.
It probably would be, but it'd still be fun running around with a suppressed pistol and red dot and screwing people over.
That
Can
does
you
sound like
imagine
fun.
can you imagine just how disappointing it would be? You just like find one guy and all he's got is a pistol on him. I thought you had loot.
I can imagine.
I really should send that.
Man, so far in like Fortnite,
Yeah.
I haven't played like a ton of it, but I really haven't been able to kill more than like 3 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I really suck.
It seems really hard, and it also seems like it comes a lot down to luck. Whether you get.
Yeah.
Uh,
Some people really like break it down into tactics and stuff like that. It's crazy.
well,
Yeah,
that's why
that's one of my favorite ways to do it. Just get that meta.
the metagaming is
Mhm.
always the fun part.
Yeah, it makes it
Thing
more fun, I
is,
think.
there's actually a mod coming out for STALKER that is trying to make the game multiplayer. So it could end up being something similar. But the obviously the major difference between Stalker and PUBG is that it's a single player game, not a
Yeah.
proper multiplayer. Of course, I guess
Mhm.
it falls into the line of like stuff like Fallout in regards to how much you can play it by yourself and you can just enjoy the scenery.
Yeah.
It's also really fun to have situations. I put it up in a chat that we're in. A picture of the mini map that I was in. Uh, there's like 20 to 30 enemy NPC bodies just around there. Some so much that they've merged into one dot, and so you can just walk around and loot through the bodies. It's so much fun. It sounds perverted, but it is so much fun. The great thing about it is that it also can help with confronting loss because they're named NPCs that are kind of important to the story, but they're not protected by the plot. Whether they exist, whether they're alive or not, actually doesn't matter if it furthers the story in the game. You can still get the information from their dead bodies, but
Well, not always.
Huh.
well, not always. Not always if you have like a job that they're going to pay you for. But for the main storyline of the game, no character actually needs to be alive in order for you to get the information to progress. Unless you have a differing opinion on that.
That's
Nathan.
pretty metal.
It is.
Right.
The one guy,
That's
Beth,
pretty metal.
whom we call Freddie Mercury because he looks exactly like Freddie Mercury in a
That
soccer
guy.
suit. Yeah, that guy.
I saw that. That's awesome.
In my rendition of it, he got wounded. I took his gun, I healed him, and I went about my business. 2 to 3 days in the game, which is all as far as I got, playing like 12 hours or something. I come back and he's lying dead in the field. After I had like tried to save him like 3 different times, on 3 different occasions, and so I was like, "Oh crap, Bess is dead." So I dragged his body to the within the factory little compound that they have, placed him reverently in a corner, and every time I pass by, I plan to teabag that corpse in respect.
That's hardcore, man.
It was funny. I was
So savage. Like every time he, just like, hey, guess what? You died. We used to be friends. Also,
it's hilarious because he's just like spread eagled in the corner. And so I had Ben, a guy who's not been on here, but one of our associates in games, is like kind of rather religious, and so we're just playing 2 different games. That says, "I will teabag your corpse in respect viciously." I don't know how strange that would have sounded coming out of random in his ears, but I couldn't pass it up.
Hey man, to the winner
I mean,
go
if
the
his
teabag right.
lifestyle was like Freddie Mercury's, he probably wouldn't mind it too much.
This is what Nathan said when I told him about that.
Yeah, just like, you might want to find a doctor out in Chernobyl and like from the expansiveness of that game, I think AIDS might be a thing.
I think AIDS are the least of your
Most likely.
problems in the zone.
Like, you say that, but then you get AIDS.
Let's just say Bess is in a completely rubber suit.
Okay,
Sealing
yeah,
the
like
flavor.
teabag away, yeah. Like, but you
Also,
know, you
I'm
just
in a rubber suit.
gotta scratch and sprinkle on him. You know, just it's like pouring a splash out in your 40 for your homies. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But more respectful.
Yeah, way more respectful. Like, I'd rather have the scratch and sprinkle than the pour the 40 any day of the week.
I guess I could always just toss a vodka on him every time I went by. I have enough of it and I don't use it.
Drink vodka. We get
Just
corpse drunk.
There would probably be about 40 different bottles of vodka on his corpse if I really put an effort into that.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
awesome.
There's I actually found like I found 3 full boxes, about 4 down, like 6 across of vodka bottles in the zone. I could just take one of those every time, come back, dump one on Bess, and then go about my business.
So in game, do you have like a weight limit? Like, does it tally up? Like, you can only carry so much weight. See, like my
Yeah.
beef with games is weight is always like so high. Like in Skyrim, it was like 350.
Oh yeah, it's always over what it really would be in real life. I mean, you can't carry 300 kilograms of stuff all at once.
This is the weight limit currently is about 50K.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I mean, like I can squat 315 a couple times. Like, you know, like I'm not like super strong or
You're
anything.
not
Like,
going to
I
carry
just
that around
can't
all
do
day
it.
long.
But dude, carrying that on your back, like, just I don't want to meet the guy who can carry 350 pounds on his back for like a mile, because that dude could probably eat me.
the thing about it is in Stalker is that
Like,
when you walk, you actually have like this weird waddle to it, like you're bow-legged. It really, and the more weighted down you are, the bigger the sway. So you're pretty much just going like this when you're super laden
yeah,
with loot. And man, is there a lot of loot in the game? I
that's
absolutely
awesome.
love it.
Like, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
the game is
Like,
essentially
seriously, like,
hoarders, like the ones that don't admit that they're hoarders.
yeah,
I'm taking all your stuff. It's mine now.
yeah. Like, get the vodka.
The recent adventure that I had, we were supposed to or I was tasked with getting a small box from a military installation, since the zone is technically a non-permissive area and people are there illegally. I was supposed to do it quietly, which I interpreted as kill the entire military installation because no one can tell you what went on if they're all dead, which was quite fun.
I mean, like, seems legit.
It seems legit, and
Yeah, straight up.
grenades are your friends, but if you try it wrong, you will die very quickly, especially if you misjudge everything.
That seems to just be a theme of Stalker. Like, like you'll die real quick. Like,
No doubt about it. If you learn I was talking about this with my brother. It's like you learn not to care really quickly in the zone. Like when you first get in, it's like, oh my god, this thing can kill me. Oh my god, that thing can kill me. Then I've only been playing like probably an hour a day, stretched out, if on average, and I could give less of a crap about the anomalies now, because before it would kill me all the time. And I would give them each a humongous berth. Now I just kind of skirt them and go.
PERTH?
What?
Birthday, PERTH?
Berth? Like for
Like you're
ships.
going around them.
like
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, like give them, yeah, like you give them their distance, like a birth. I think it's BERTH.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the distance around it.
Yep.
Give them all of it.
Were you going to comment on something, Nathan? Because all we heard was...
No.
That, no, of course, you can sell things in-game, which is awesome.
Right.
Being paid 2,500 ruble to buy stuff that's worth 60,000 ruble. Feels good, man. And guns in the game. You get guns all the time. So you think this would be a good thing to sell at the traders? They're like 100, 200 ruble.
Even
It's
for
better
like,
just...
high power guns?
Yeah. I have...
Like, we do not care.
I have like 2 AK-74s, and they go for 100 ruble. 120 at best. Well, they're charging me 7, maybe 8,000 ruble on the low end for certain rifles. I can pick up off some dead guy.
Yeah. Like, sometimes it's just easier to shoot people in the face and take stuff.
It kind of is. The thing I do like about it, though, is that the weapons degrade over time. Especially if you use them.
Yeah.
They'll get less accurate. They'll jam more, and sometimes a lot. Like 2 to 3 jams in a row.
And they always jam at the worst possible moment as well.
No, I
That
hate
too.
So is there
But
like so what's like the lifespan on like the accuracy on one?
It depends. On like the specialized named objects, which are the Coolio ones, they have a very long shelf life of how much they can be used before they're absolutely not usable.
Yeah.
But for like shotguns, those double barrels, those will go really quick, especially if you drop them, because dropping hits the damage as well in the condition. Yeah, it's actually a very interesting mechanics that they use for that.
It's like everything's 1911s.
I have one. It's a Cora 919. I haven't used it yet, but it's apparently the fastest firing 45 in the game, but it has the second worst accuracy and the second worst weight. Of course, the main one's like a Desert Eagle, so it's realistic in that regards.
You can one-shot pretty much anything if you get a good headshot.
That is true. And you can suppress it, too. The other things that you find in the zone are a variety of medkits. Some that can... Oh, that's the other part. Radiation. Everywhere. In the most inopportune times. Sometimes it's absolutely phenomenal levels of radiation. You walk into it, your radiation meter literally shoots to the top, and you have to use anti-rad drugs or vodka. Otherwise, you will die within about 5 minutes.
That's rad, bro.
It is. You know, it's even more rad, the 100 Rads bar, where you spend most of your time.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm. 100 Rads bar is your major base.
That's kind of an awesome name for a bar.
It is. It's a nice bar, too. Where it has the area around the bar and that bar has the 4 most annoying NPCs, because they will repeat the exact same dialogue forever as long as you're present. So there's this one guard. He'll say, "Get out of here, Stalker." But if you stand there, he will literally repeat it over and over and over and over again. And if you're laden down with a bunch of stuff...
Like you're saying, like I used to be an adventurer, but then I took an arrow to the knee kind of deal.
Worse than that.
I used to be an adventurer like you, and then I took an arrow in the knee. I love how they make those dudes.
3 hours.
I love how they made those dudes, like half of those dudes sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I used to be an adventurer like you, and then I took an arrow in the knee. Like, it's amazing.
And the way he said, the way they say white
run. Milk drinker. Yeah.
White run.
Yeah, you have committed crimes against white run and his people. What say you? Scramble the fairies.
Ah, man, Scramble the Fairies. It's been a while. But yeah, you're walking in a dark place, trying to get out of there, trying to get to the bar to dump off your stuff. Get out of here, stalker. Get out of here, stalker. Get out of here, stalker. Get out of here. I will shoot you if I didn't want to risk everyone else shooting me.
Like, you're not my dad.
Oh, such a great line. Especially the high pitched way.
Yeah. That kid's the best.
Well, I'm thinking of it. I forgot if I asked Josh. Hey, Josh, you up for D&D next week on Wednesday?
D&D next Wednesday. I'll have to check back with you. I don't know what I'm doing next week.
Okay. Well, we got maybe a couple guys to be on. Christian will be back possibly.
Okay.
So we'll have a decent amount.
Okay, cool.
We'll explore what happened to Tasty Cakes and find out what happens after that. Because I made some changes to the plot because if my brother joins, he'll know things that you guys don't know, which will give him an advantage, but he doesn't know them now.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, does he know that I'm gonna like try and change up the story and make crazy stuff happen?
Crazier than taking over the kingdom before assassinating the king.
Well, I mean, I shot that gun in the middle of
I'm sorry, I confused you that it was a revolver that you tried to suppress.
I thought it was like a Desert Eagle. You said you worked the action.
Yeah, the working the action is literally
man. Working the action. That's man. You say that, and I think run the slide.
Yeah, me too.
See,
but it could be like pulling the trigger back. You know.
I've encountered the exact same phrase used to describe a flintlock in Fenimore Cooper's Last of the Mohicans. It's not a new phrase.
Yeah. Run the action isn't a new phrase, but like when I'm thinking of like when I live in the world of modern semi-automatic firearms.
That is true. But you found it next to a sawed-off double-barreled shotgun.
I thought it was like, well, yeah, I thought it was like a really sexy Desert Eagle with like engraving and stuff.
Yeah,
like everybody's wanted a solid gold Desert Eagle at some point.
Hell yes, man. That's like
right.
Yeah.
Right.
In
gold.
Express.
Exactly. It's like a war crime if you shoot somebody with that.
Yeah. Right. Be like an African drug lord.
They had a name generator. Mine was, what was that? Combat criminal. That's what I put in the chat. Combat criminal. Put in the war and war crimes. I couldn't pass that one up. Yeah. I hang on. I'll send you the link right now, Steven, so that you can get one on the cheap for the Stalker bundle. People, whether they like the game or like the site or not, you can't disagree with the price.
I have a thing that like really bothers me about like most games, and it's how goofy they make iron sights.
Yeah.
Like for AKs especially, like they make the notch in them huge because they think that the elevation slider is the place that you sight through, and really you have a smaller, like a very fine notch in there. And I don't know, like Call of Duty especially, like they just decided that the notch in the back needed to be the size of the ears, like of the front sight post. So like it doesn't make any sense because like, oh, I'm just gonna line that up until it like matches with the ears on the front sight post, and then I just have this freaking front sight that just like elevation isn't a thing. Yeah,
peep sights are used wrong in Stalker's AR style rifle. They're literally just the double notch.
You aim down sights.
Yeah.
So the little fins that come up the side of the peep sight, you aim down barrel with those instead of actually looking through the peep.
The peep actually is full if you actually look at it.
Really? That's crazy.
It's like just like a button, and there's no actual hole in there. It's a solid peep sight.
I have a funny story considering peep sights. When I went through the law enforcement academy, right? I go through and like during the shooting portion, they had these ARs, like these Palmetto State guns. And, they ran pretty good for us, but we honestly only shot like a mag out of the gun, so it was pretty stupid. Anyway, getting off that soapbox, they give it to us, and it's got these Magpul M-Bus sights on it. And I look at them and I'm like, there's something going on with these. I was like, this is weird. They look wrong. And then I realized that they were backwards.
I am not surprised.
And I was like, man, my sight pictures are super fuzzy. What's the deal with these? And I was like, oh, the sights are backwards. And it was like, because it makes a funnel and it's supposed to funnel the light towards your eye. But it funneled the light away from your eye, so it was just super blurry.
Something's wrong with my eyes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, I might need glasses or something. What's going on? And like 6 more people were like, no, man, this side picture's just blurry. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, and I just looked at it for a second. I was like, they had the armorer. They have like an armorer, I guess, at the school. It was like a certified armorer. Didn't put the sights on right. They're like, well, our armorer did it. And I was like, well, give me your screwdriver. I'm going to be your new armorer.
This is mine now. You are all
so I took that crap off, flipped it.
I kind of noticed that in Fortnite, the A2 front post that they have on their assault rifles is backwards. It makes a makes a right triangle, or right triangle in the wrong direction.
That's awesome.
The thing about it is that that's one of the reasons why they have the receivers backwards in Stalker, is that they wanted to get skirt copyright infringement, so they didn't have to pay royalties to manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
Which, with that, I can understand screwing up some details.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't want to pay
bunches of money.
Like
at that
in
point,
some
make your own design.
Yeah, but there's some designs that are like iconic, like the Walkman, right? I was watching an anime.
Yeah.
It's called Beck. It was from like years back. The guy had a Walkman. Instead of saying Sony, it had the same like lettering. It was like Soby, S-O-B-Y.
Adibus?
Yes,
had a little lizard on it. It's made out of glass.
Yeah, right. or like in Siege, like Rainbow Six Siege, like their holographic sites. Holographic sites are it just says holographic instead of like an EO type. It looks like an XVS 2.0, or the aim point. It just says red dot or something like that.
That's so lame.
Yeah, but hey, it's not really noticeable. It looks like the same text. So
yeah.
For the most part, people don't really care about that stuff except us.
Yeah, like the guys who
the average. I'm pretty sure the average individual who plays Rainbow Six Siege would never have any experience with any of the add-ons ever.
Yeah, probably like most like maybe 12-year-olds, Well, there's a lot of like older people that play it too.
Yeah, but then again, we're part of a very comparatively small subset of the culture.
All that.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's true.
But like honestly, I've noticed that when I put like actual tactics into games that like work in gunfighting, especially use of cover and stuff like that, I find that I do much better.
That's
like,
really
kind of moving slow, pieing corners, stuff like that.
Yeah, it really works. It really works. I mean, I guess that's the reason why they teach it in real life, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, so like,
right?
You could in fact use that as a piece of your training. Like, oh man, this doesn't seem like it works. Well, let me try it here, and what is essentially supposed to be like a combat simulator. Whether or not it's an accurate one.
Lines of sight.
And you'd be like, hey,
angles.
Yeah.
Stalker literally makes you do that. They make you have cover. Because if you're standing out in an open field, there'll be like 6 guys hosing you with full automatic fire and shotguns.
Yeah. I've noticed like what works stupid well, and it was something that like Pat McNamara harped on us about, was like avoiding the crimson flower of death. And it was like just simple, like, hey, if you came in on one side of cover, come out on the other side. Came out on that side of cover. Come out on the other side. If you don't have another side, come out on that side, but lower. Like, it's just, like, just because, like,
It's
Yeah.
really common
people are
sense, you know.
creatures of habit. Yeah, and I've gotten so many kills like that just because I'll go behind cover and I'll duck out, and then I'll just pop up like way low, like in prone, and just like pop, 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 pop.
We were
I've done-
actually,
Like, I'll be like, I never even saw him coming.
playing what do you call this? The first Star Wars, Battlefront. Battlefront 1, you know, when it came out in, like 2015. Actually, I got a chance to play against. I didn't know it was Matt Prime. Uh, I didn't know it was
The guy
Matt
in our-
Prime. Yeah,
I got a guy in our circle of associates somehow.
he's you know, yeah, he's a pretty good dude. But you know, he was owning. He was basically on top of the leaderboards all the time, and now I know why. He had Darcy training. He had police training, you know, tactical training, and he's just like, yeah, even timing, you know, like timing of the people like running out. So he'd get them like just as they run out, and you know, people were accusing him of hacking.
Hex.
The only time I
Scam.
was able to you know, kill him was I used to spam like thermal grenades.
Man, like back when like Halo, it was when Halo 3 came out, or like give or take a little while after that. At the dojo I was going to, we had like this video game tournament, and it was when like UFC. Oh, I don't even remember. It's like UFC 2010 or something came out. So we had this, like, it was like a fundraiser. You know, you pay like $10 to get into the door, and we had a Halo tournament. But one of the dudes that we trained with was ranked like 32nd in the United States for Halo 2.
Oh dang!
Like,
Okay.
and he just, yeah, like, so when he was a kid, when he was like in high school and stuff, he just played a lot of Halo. That's just what he did. And he ended up getting really good, and got like to like 32nd in the U.S. And I remember playing with him and just having no chance at all.
Yeah,
Because we're
it's
just
crazy
going
how
through.
it's
Yeah.
crazy how like some of these guys are you know, like so like well coordinated. My
Yeah,
fingers could
'cause
never be that coordinated. It just
Yeah, because we had 4 dudes. I was one of them, and like my instructor got 1 kill on him one time, and that's because he hid in this nook and had the pistol, and he just like waited, and he ran past him because he had the energy sword, and he was just slicing everybody down, and yeah, and he shot him
hey, it's
one time and
survival
just so
tactic.
happened to have hit him in the head, and he
It's
was like, "That
survival
didn't even
tactic.
count." He's like, "That didn't even count. That was cheap." And he was like, "You still died."
Right.
Yeah,
You
but
can't
I
be
mean,
mad.
he would just
Yeah, I
run
can't be
through.
mad.
Yeah,
You
like,
can't call somebody cheap if you're running around with the plasma sword. I mean, come on, really?
but I mean, like, he killed everybody. That was the one time that he died. Like, he just made everybody look like chumps. It was a lot of fun, though. I think I beat him in UFC.
That reminds me of gaming last night. There was a guy in BF2. We were in the bottom of Cooper Dam, the map, and there's just like
Yeah.
this little murder corridor just underneath the dam where you can cap the base above you without being seen.
Right.
So I run in there, I check to make sure something's there, and I see like this boot sticking out of the wall. So the guy's obviously hunched up in the corner. So I decide to crawl into the corner and stab him in the shin and kill him.
Nice. That's awesome.
It was
See, that's like
fantastic.
that's one thing that I really don't like is like the knife kills and stuff when you like you can like cut somebody in the big toe and they'll die.
It's like
That's why I
But if
100 damage.
yeah,
Instant
like it's
death.
just like all
in that Medal of Honor, you at least had to club him a few times before it worked.
yeah, like I mean, but that was one thing that I did like about Wolfenstein 2 is I don't know if you looked up the stealth kills with the tomahawks, but they were
No.
so brutal and it was beautiful. Like, because if you hit them with a tomahawk, yeah, they die. but you also had the option of like throwing a tomahawk into him, and you had to place it well. So you had to learn the trajectory of the tomahawk, like. But it was still like the same thing. Like if you threw it and it hit him in the leg, he'd still die. Right? I'm like, man.
I enjoyed mastering the throwing knife and tomahawk in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I still hated to switch to the tomahawk though, because I love the throwing knife. But it was, yeah, I got pretty good at that actually.
I like on Black Ops, it was a lot of fun because you could just start the match and like if you had the, I don't even remember, I think it was like Hardline or something like that. You would get 2 grenade substitutions. So I had 2 tomahawks and I would just chuck both of them out at the beginning of the match. And I did get 2 cross map kills on Nuketown one time. I was pretty excited about that. Like, I'm sure like it was super cheap, but I got them.
Hey man, it's viable. It's
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
legitimate
Like,
kill. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a legit kill, you know. Just kind of like, let's see if this works.
Kind of like noob tubes, like people are like all harping about noob tubes, the grenade launchers and the grenade launchers in Modern Warfare 2. It's a viable strategy.
Yeah,
I used it to unlock the shotgun for the underslung. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get 25 kills. Well, I can just shoot into this guy's gut, and voila.
And some people,
like, just why shouldn't I run around with a
right?
Like, why shouldn't I run around with a 44mm? Like, you're not my dad.
Right. And like some people actually would memorize where the spawn points are. So if you're at a certain part of the map, the enemy team will spawn at whatever point, and they'll memorize them, and they'll
Yes.
get the angle correct and hit them at when they first spawn, and it's just
yeah. And that is something I was never able to master, but got caught in a couple times. And it's absolutely aggravating when you get caught like that.
Yeah. Like,
Nuketown was a bad one. Yeah. Nuketown was a bad one because dudes would get up and sit in the yeah, it is, and they usually do it on the small maps, but dudes would go and they would sit on the freaking, what is it, like the trailer, and they'll go and they'll know like, oh, okay, he spawned here this time, bang, he spawned over here the next time, so they would just wait because there's only 2 ways you can come at them, like left or right.
Right.
I ended up diving out of one of the windows and like landed and shot the guy.
Nice.
And I was like, haha, I died immediately afterwards because I didn't know where his spawn was.
And they're so you don't have like a cooldown timer.
Yeah,
no. Like a Battlefield, like instantaneous.
Pretty much about as fast as you can press square.
I'm gonna head off, you guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, man. Be easy, bud.
Take it easy, bro.
Bye.
Bye. We purposely joined right as we're about to end.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that is all we're going to squeeze from this lemon. So I'll bid you adieu. Hopefully we'll catch you next week.
Wait. Squeeze from this lemon?
Squeeze from this lemon.
Did you just make that up? I've never heard anybody say that.
I like
literally never.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze. You ever heard that one?
Oh yeah, I've heard that, but like,
it's a variation.
So we're gonna squeeze out of this one. Yeah, I guess so. Like, Illinoisians are weird, man.
I say, I'm probably the weirdest one of all the Illinois people. No,
you're the least ratchet, though.
Except the ones who are on drugs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, drugs.
Oh, do they? I don't know. Are they still people?
Legal says yes. We're gonna end it there on that cliffhanger note, and we'll hopefully catch you next week for Dungeons and Dragons, where we'll find out what happened to Tasty Cakes and Aussie. Will they land up in the gay commune? Who knows? Tune in to find out.
Probably did.